We have some very big and very important news coming straight from Buckingham Palace. This is a very special message that has just been given to the world from the home of the king. I'm going to read every single word of it for you right now so that you do not miss anything at all. The message says that the king has started a very serious and formal plan today. This plan is meant to take away the special names and the very important titles from someone in the family. It only took 4 short minutes to change everything that the royal family knew. Inside a very secret room where the royal council meets, a big choice was made. This choice was put in front of the crown. No one who was friends with Camilla ever thought this could really happen in real life. They thought she was safe, but they were wrong. Inside that secret and locked meeting room, something very big happened. Catherine was given the special title of Queen Consort. This was the very title that Camilla had worked so hard to get for many, many years. She had fought many battles to keep that position for herself. But in just 1 second, it was taken away and given to Catherine instead. The most scary part happened just a few moments later. A man read the words of the big choice out loud so everyone could hear them. When Camilla heard the words, all the color went out of her face. She looked as white as a sheet of paper. Then, all of a sudden, she fell down to the floor. She fainted before anyone in the room could even move to help her. It was a very sad and shocking thing to see. Before we talk more about what this means for the whole royal family, please make sure you hit the button to subscribe to our channel. We do not want you to miss any new stories or updates about this. When the first page of the big report was opened, Camilla did not move at all. She sat very stiff and very still right next to King Charles. She was waiting for him to say something. She thought he would stop the man from reading. She thought he would stand up for her. But the king did not say a single thing. He stayed very quiet. That silence was very loud. It felt heavier than any long speech. The Royal Council is a group of very important people who give advice to the king about rules and ceremonies. They all said yes to a new plan. This plan moved the title of Queen Consort from Camilla to Catherine. It was a written rule that made it real. It meant Camilla's job was gone forever. Catherine looked down at her feet as the man kept reading the words. She did not smile at all. She did not act like she had won a prize. She did not move forward or try to look better than anyone else. William was watching her very closely. He understood why she looked so sad even though she was getting a bigger title. He knew that her moving up was only happening because another woman was being embarrassed in front of everyone. There was no way to make those two things separate. Across the big table, Camilla kept looking at Charles. She was looking at his eyes and his face. She wanted to see him fighting back. She wanted him to say no to the council. But he gave her no help at all. The king's hands did not move. Every second that passed made Camilla feel less and less brave. Then the man reading the paper got to the most important sentence of all. The music in the room felt very heavy. Camilla's fingers gripped the edge of the hard table very tightly. She tried to push her chair back so she could stand up. She wanted to leave or say something, but she lost her balance. Her legs felt weak like jelly. People who work at the palace ran toward her to help as the quiet room suddenly became very noisy and confusing. Charles was standing a few feet away. He looked very shocked and very stunned. He looked like he could not believe what was happening. Catherine stayed right next to William. She was shaking because she felt very bad for Camilla. Even though she was getting the title, she felt the pain of the human cost. It was a very hard thing to watch. William then looked at a small note at the bottom of the big paper. He saw something that was very troubling. The plan to move the title had been finished before the meeting even started that morning. This was not a quick choice made during an argument. This was a plan that had been made a long time ago. Everything was already decided before Camilla even walked into the room. She thought she could stop it, but the choice was already made. As the helpers helped her get to the door, she turned around to look at Charles one last time. Her voice was very quiet and very weak, but the words she said were very sharp. She said, "You knew." Once she said that, everything changed. It was not just about Catherine getting a new job anymore. It was about how the people closest to Camilla had let her walk into a trap. The Royal Council changed a name and a title, but they also broke 3 very important hearts. They broke relationships that were built around the king's crown. Camilla felt like she had been shamed in front of the whole world. Catherine felt the scary weight of a big honor that she never wanted to get in such a sad way. And Charles had to face a very big problem that no paper could fix. He had to live with the fact that his wife thought he had left her all alone when she needed him most. Behind the big titles were 3 real people. Each of them was looking at the same choice, but they were all seeing a different kind of loss. It was a very sad day for all of them in different ways. Camilla had spent many years believing that the title of Queen Consort was very special. To her, it was more than just a name or a high rank. It was the proof she needed. She had gone through many years of people not liking her and saying mean things. She had faced a lot of trouble from the public. To her, having that title meant that the world finally liked her and accepted her. Standing next to the king as the Queen Consort told the whole country that she had done more than just survive. It showed she was a real part of the family. Losing that title so quickly hurt her very deeply. It was not just about the rules of the palace. It was about her heart and her feelings of being wanted. Catherine felt a very different kind of pressure on her shoulders. She always knew that one day she would have more work to do as William's wife. She knew that her job would grow as the years went by. But she always thought it would happen slowly and nicely. She did not want it to happen because another woman fainted and was made to feel small. In a private room on the side, she talked to William very carefully. She told him she did not want people to remember her becoming queen as the time when Camilla was hurt. William listened to her. He told her that if she said no to the title now, it might cause a bigger fight in the family. The family was already very stressed, and he did not want more problems to start. Charles had to have the hardest talk of all by himself. He went into the quiet room where Camilla was resting after she fainted. When he walked in, she did not try to hold his hand or look at him. She turned her head away and looked out the window instead. He walked closer to her and tried to hold her hand, but she pulled it away. She asked him, "Why didn't you tell me?" The king did not know what to say at first. Later, in a talk that was written down for the palace records, he said he did know that people were talking about changing the titles. He said he knew it was a topic of discussion. But he told her he had not seen the final words. He said he did not know it would happen right away. Camilla looked at him with very sad eyes. She did not believe him. It did not matter if he knew every little detail or just a few. She felt that he knew enough to know she was in danger. He knew she was going to be hurt, and he still let her walk into that room without telling her to be ready. Later that night, William talked to Catherine again. He had found something even more worrying. He had looked at the big folder of papers that the council used to make their choice. He found out that people had been complaining about Camilla for many months. This was not a new problem. It had been growing very quietly behind closed doors for a long time. Then Catherine saw something very strange. She saw a date on the papers. The same date was written next to many of the complaints. It was the date of a secret ceremony at Windsor Castle that almost no one knew about. Only the people who lived inside the palace knew what happened that day. To understand why that date was so scary to the palace, we have to look back at what happened 3 months ago. Every big problem in the royal family has one small moment that starts everything. This moment happened inside Windsor Castle during a rehearsal for a ceremony. There were no cameras there. There were no people cheering in the streets. There was no news on the TV. It was just Camilla, Catherine, William, and a very big disagreement about what should happen in the future. What happened in those few private minutes would later be the reason why the council took Camilla's title away. Camilla went to that rehearsal expecting things to stay the same. She thought she would always be the most important woman next to the king. The rehearsal was to figure out who would stand where during big events. It was meant to decide who would do what if things changed suddenly. Basically, it was to see who was the most important. Catherine's job was already getting bigger because of William. But Camilla thought that Catherine would stay behind her. She did not want Catherine to be more important than she was. She wanted to keep her spot at the very front of the line. Then a very big command was given. Camilla told the workers to move Catherine. She said Catherine should not be in the top spot anymore. She told them to put Catherine further back in the line. Her voice sounded very calm and controlled, but the meaning was very clear and a bit mean. She said out loud that there can only be one queen next to the king. William did not like this at all. He spoke up right away before anyone could move. He said that the plan they already had was the right one. He said Catherine's spot should show her future job as the next queen. William knew this was not just about where someone stood. It was about who would lead the country in the future. Catherine tried to be the peacemaker. She quietly asked William not to make a big scene, but the hurt was already done. She had been told she was not important in front of the important palace workers. It was meant to make her look like she was being pushed down. The argument did not go away when the rehearsal was over. A man wrote down everything that happened. He had to write it down because Camilla's command changed a rule that was already agreed upon. This rule was about how the jobs would move from one person to the next. The record kept every detail. It wrote down how William got mad and how Catherine tried to keep everyone calm. King Charles got that report that same night. According to the palace papers, he secretly changed Camilla's order back to the way it was before. He put Catherine back in the important spot. But the king did not tell his wife that he did this. He did not want to have a fight with her in public. He thought that if he stayed quiet, the problem would just go away. He thought silence would fix the damage. But instead, the silence just hid the problem and let it grow. Camilla thought the whole thing was over. She thought the papers were just boring office work that did not matter. She assumed she had won the argument and that everything was fine. Many months later, that same paper came back to haunt her. It was inside the big folder at the council meeting. The things she thought were just small arguments were now being used as proof against her. The council said her personal power was getting in the way of the monarchy's plans. Once she understood this, she was very angry at Catherine. But a simple piece of paper cannot take away a queen's title by itself. The real breaking point happened when Camilla went to talk to Catherine face to face. She wanted to know if Catherine had helped make this happen. There were no helpers between them now. There were no lawyers or writers. It was just the two women in a room alone. They stood a few feet apart in a private room. Each woman was carrying the heavy weight of a title that only one of them could have. Camilla believed that Catherine had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Catherine had spent the day feeling very scared of this talk. Then the door was closed. Camilla turned to look at her, and the fight that the palace was afraid of finally started. Camilla was the one who asked for the meeting after she felt better from her faint. She had one very strict rule for the meeting. There were to be no staff members and no helpers. She did not want messages sent back and forth. She wanted to hear the truth. Catherine said yes to the meeting because she knew it was important for the future. She knew that if they stayed angry, it would hurt the family for a long time. It might even hurt William when he becomes king one day. Camilla did not wait. She asked right away, "Did you know they were giving you my title?" Catherine looked her right in the eyes. She said she knew that people were talking about changes. But she said she did not know the council would actually move the title that very morning. This answer did not make Camilla feel any better. She accused Catherine of just standing there while people were mean to her for years. She said Catherine was taking the title right when things got hard. Catherine became very firm. She told Camilla that she never asked for this to happen. She said she did not want to be moved up while another woman was being made to feel low. These words were very strong because they were true. Catherine was not happy about how this happened. She had seen Camilla fall. She had seen the king look like he was frozen in ice. She knew that her new power would always be tied to the sad way it was taken from someone else. Then Catherine told Camilla a secret. Before the meeting started, Catherine had asked William to wait. She asked him to try to slow things down so it did not look like a punishment. But William and Catherine did not have the power to stop the final choice. Camilla's anger started to move to a new person. If Catherine had tried to stop the change, then someone else must have wanted it more. Camilla walked closer to Catherine. She asked the most important question of all. She asked, "Then who wanted this?" Catherine did not speak for a second. Then she told Camilla to look at the people who signed the paper. This answer changed the whole room. Later, Camilla looked at the page with the names on it. She saw names she knew. Then her eyes stopped on one name. It was the name of Charles. His signature was right there at the bottom of the paper. Seeing his name changed her anger into a very cold feeling. If the king had said yes to this, then the fight was not between two women. It was a fight with the crown itself. Camilla could fight with Catherine. She could be mad at William. She could tell the helpers they were wrong, but she could not argue with the king's own signature. Charles had signed the paper. He might not have been happy about it, and he might have been worried, but he did it. He made it real. When Camilla saw his name, she knew the truth. She knew that her husband had picked his job as king over his love for her as a wife. This was a very hard truth to learn. Charles knew exactly what his signature meant. The new rules could not start without him saying yes. This meant that everything was his fault in the end. He had tried to stop the change for many weeks. He was afraid it would cause too much confusion. He was afraid it would hurt his marriage. But he could only say no for so long. Once the council showed him all the facts, he felt like he had no choice. If he kept protecting Camilla, it would look like he was not doing his job as king. He sat alone with the papers after the meeting was over. He read the page with his name on it again. He took off his glasses and was very quiet. A helper stood nearby, but the king did not speak to him. Charles finally said that if he kept protecting Camilla forever, it would cause a bigger problem for the country. He felt that his job to the crown had to be more important than his feelings as a husband. The council said that Catherine was already doing more work. She was doing more of the big jobs and helping William more as his role grew bigger. They thought the monarchy was already moving to the next step, and the titles needed to match that. The fight at Windsor Castle just proved that things had to change. William had made a choice of his own, too. He did not want to be the one to ask for Camilla to be removed. William knew that if he asked for her to be kicked out, it would look like a son was being mean to his father's wife just to get ahead. So he left the choice to Charles. This meant Charles had no one else to blame. Camilla understood this very quickly. Catherine did not force her out. William did not tell the king he had to do it. The council made the plan, but Charles was the one who made it happen. Once his name was on that paper, things started to move very fast. By the next morning, the words on the paper were turning into real changes. The way the palace worked every day began to change, and Camilla's life changed with it. The hardest part was not the meeting. The hardest part was the next morning. Little things started to change, and she could not ignore them. A folder of news did not come to her room. A meeting she usually went to was taken off her calendar. The people who used to work for her were now working for someone else. No one was mean or loud. No one yelled or slammed doors, but every small change sent the same message. Her title was gone, and the palace was already moving on without her. She was being left behind. Camilla noticed the missing folder before anyone even told her about it. She was used to getting a report every morning about her work. When she asked a helper where the folder was, the answer was very soft and polite. The helper said it was not for her anymore. Camilla did not say anything. She looked at her breakfast and realized that her old life was over. Her meetings were given to other people. Her charity work was being moved. Charles came in to see her later. He tried to be nice and gentle, but Camilla told him that the palace had erased all her hard work in just one night. He tried to tell her that her work still mattered, but she shook her head. She knew the truth. The world around her had changed, and she felt like a stranger in her own home. Then a surprising message came from Catherine. Catherine said she would not move into the office that Camilla used to have. She told the staff to leave Camilla's things exactly where they were. She wanted Camilla to decide what to do with her personal items. When Camilla heard this, she felt a little bit different. She realized that Catherine was not acting like a winner who was happy to see her lose. This made Camilla feel even more confused. It meant that Catherine was not her enemy. By the evening, Camilla decided she wanted to talk to Catherine one more time. She wrote a short note with her own hand. She asked to meet without any other people there. The two women met again. This time there was no anger. There was no fighting over who was more important. They did not have any helpers or any papers between them. For the first time, they were just two people talking to each other. Camilla told Catherine that losing the title hurt her, but it was not the worst part. The worst part was thinking Charles would protect her and then finding out he didn't. She felt like her husband had kept a secret from her. She felt like she could no longer trust the one person who was supposed to be on her side. Catherine listened to everything she said without saying a word. She let Camilla speak her heart. Then Catherine told her the truth about how she felt. She said getting the title did not feel like winning a race. It felt like a heavy burden. She knew that from now on, people would always remember that she became queen because Camilla was hurt. She knew that every time she did something good, people would compare her to the moment Camilla fainted. Camilla then asked if Catherine was going to take all her charities and the work she had done for years. Catherine said, no. She told Camilla that she could keep the causes that were important to her. Catherine did not want to punish her. She just wanted to do her new job well. This answer changed the feeling in the room. Before she left, Camilla gave Catherine some notes she had written over many years. They were private notes about how to do the job. They had warnings about the pressure and lessons she had learned. She gave them to Catherine to help her. It was her way of saying that the change was real and she accepted it. With that, the palace could finally start to move forward. The family found a small bit of peace. But outside the palace walls, the rest of the world was just finding out what happened. By the time the sun came up, everyone in the world knew the big secret. People everywhere were looking at their phones. The TV shows were all talking about the news. The newspapers were changing their front pages to show the story. People were trying to figure out what it meant for the two women. One picture showed it best. It was a picture of Catherine walking into the palace and Camilla's car driving away. The palace put out a formal message saying Catherine was the new Queen Consort. They used fancy words to make it sound calm, but everyone knew it was a huge change. It was not a small fix. The title had moved and the future of the monarchy had changed forever. It was a brand new day. William and Catherine watched the news together. Many people were saying it was a big victory for Catherine. But William knew she did not feel that way. She did not want to celebrate while someone else was sad. Camilla was watching the news too. She felt okay until a person on TV said that her time was over. Hearing that her years of hard work were just a closed chapter hurt her very much. One newspaper had a big headline that said, "A new queen." It showed a picture of Catherine looking happy and a picture of Camilla looking sad. It was a very tough thing for the world to see, and it was even tougher for the family to live through. Outside the palace, some people were happy for Catherine and some felt sorry for Camilla. There was a lot of excitement, but also a lot of sadness. It was not a simple party. It was a story about duty, family pain, and big changes. Inside the palace, the family had to get ready to show the world that they were still together. In the end, nothing changed back. The title stayed with Catherine. Camilla had to accept that her time as Queen Consort was done. Charles had to live with the choices he made. He had to know that he picked the crown over his marriage when he could not save both. But the real story was in what they did next. Camilla saw that the change was forever. She kept her charity work but lost the title she loved. Charles said he was sorry for keeping secrets from her. He admitted he should have been more honest about how serious the council was being. Camilla told him that losing the title was bad, but losing his trust was worse. Charles could not fix that, so he just listened. Catherine talked to Camilla one last time. There were no cameras. Camilla saw that Catherine's dress was a bit messy, and she fixed it for her. She told Catherine to do a better job than she did. Catherine said thank you very much. They were not best friends, but they understood each other. William watched them and realized that the monarchy had to move to the next generation. Catherine had more power now, but also more stress. Camilla lost her rank, but she kept her life. And Charles had saved the crown, but he had hurt his heart to do it. The council gave the title to Catherine, but no one really won. One woman gave up her dream. Another woman took on a very big job that she could not run away from. And a king found out that being the leader means sometimes making very sad choices. The change was finished. The old book was closed, and a new one was starting for the royal family and the crown.